So we're going to talk today on the second part of our wonderful, lovely little Corrigiantini Christmas panel. We have the whole kit, including the backing, the borders, the batting, all set for you when you're ready to go. So that's what we're focusing on. Today we're going to be working on a sit-down machine. What I have done so far in preparation for today is I've done a lot more of the quilting with our hollow shimmer. And I think it's showing up pretty good to me now. I'm not sure about what you can see. So I did all 3 sections with the hollow shimmer. We did Santa and the center one here, the little bird. We finished the background on this piece. So much sparkle. Okay, so today I am working on our capri. Now this is a handy quilter. So this is what we call a sit-down long arm, because you get to sit down to run it. It's in a table, so it's not a movable machine, but you still have lots of throat space here to work on. Okay. In this case, the new handy quilter capri, you've got 18 inches. So you can do all kinds of things on here. The other nice thing about this baby is, I'm going to move this out of the way. Right here on your inside table, it has 2 little sensors, and that controls your stitch regulation. So if you're used to doing free motion quilting on your home machine, you know it's a balance between getting your hands and your feet moving at the same speed. Well, with a stitch regulated machine, you don't have to worry about that. That's just the latest addition to our handy quilter lineup. There we go. And beyond that, it's got all the features of the movable handy quilters, your tension control. I've got the horizontal spool pin on there, although for the first little bit, I'm not going to be using it because I'm using a stand-up spool. Having that stitch regulation is awesome. A couple of other things I want to show you before we get going. If you're going to do any sit-down free motion quilting, you need these. These are called sweet spots, and they've got a little kind of a rubbery pad on them. You can see they just fit on your hand. You know what it's like when you're free motion quilting and your hands get that cramp and then it moves up to your shoulders. These take all the cramp up. And what I like about them, instead of using the gloves or all of the other things that you can do, is I can be quilting away and I can pick up my cup of coffee without having to take a glove off or anything like that. They're easy to move. You just pick them up, but they cling. They cling beautifully. My other little tip for today, when we're doing a lot of free motion quilting, quite often we're cutting our threads, bringing up a bobbin thread, snipping, and we get lots of little tails. So just get yourself a little piece of scrap quilt batting, set it someplace off to the side, stick it to your front, and all of those stray threads, they'll just cling. And it kind of keeps everything corralled. Okay, so let's have fun. I have got loaded on here a wonderful thread called Spotlight in gold. And I'm going to start working on Redbird. Yeah, that'll do. We'll call him Mr. Redbird. The other essential when you're free motion quilting is you've got to have shoes that you can slip off, because nobody quilts with their shoes on. Okay, first thing we're going to do. So we just take one little stitch, bring up that bobbin thread, go back to there, and I'm just going to... Now, I have the machine set so that it will not stitch, even if I'm pressing on the foot pedal, unless I move the fabric. So, even though I press down, yeah, there we go. Now, if you're used to free motion quilting on your home machine, you're going to say, that thing sounds weird. But that's the stitch regulator. It's because I'm not moving at an even speed. So, now Leah asked me yesterday if what I was doing was thread painting. And I realized as I was working on this morning that I wouldn't consider it thread painting. I think what I've done in the background, I call it doodling. So if we want to do thread painting, we're going to stitch just a little more densely. Uh-oh, thread break. That can happen quite a bit with these decorative threads. So you just pull some more down, give it a little snip. Especially some of these really heavily metallic threads, they are a metallic fiber wrapped around a core. So it's quite common for them to wear unevenly as they pass through the needle. There we are, all set. Now, I could try and just carry on from there, but I don't quite trust it. I am going to move that over, reach underneath, and I'm just going to snip that bobbin thread. Come in there. There we go. Just helps to prevent problems down the road. Get up there. So now I can start fresh. Same thing. Grab the bobbin thread. There we are. Okay. Back it a little, and I'm going to lengthen my stitches just a touch because that's going to fill in the area a little bit better. I would consider that in the world of thread painting, that would be a base layer. And I might go and find a different gold thread that's just going to add a slightly different sparkle to it. Okay, the thread is called Spotlight. It's part of the Wonderfill line. I've got a couple set over there. The color is metallic gold. And the thing you'll notice about this thread, it's almost wiry. It really has a lot of memory. It can be a little bit challenging. All right, there's our gold part of our red bird. So we're just going to change thread colors. They're actually very easy to thread. So all of the thread path is on the outside of the machine, so you don't have to worry about finding any little nooks and crannies. There we go. Under, oops, that under there. Yeah. So now what I'm threading in here is one of the regular sulky metallic threads. Yesterday we were using the hollow shimmer. And here we are through our little thread guide. Pop that up there. And through the needle. Now I did not bother changing the needle on this one. I'm not sure what we have in it. It is most likely a 16 or an 18 Grossbeckert. If you're finding your thread is shredding too much, it's better to go with the bigger needle. But I gave this one a pretty good test this afternoon, and everything seemed to be working fine. So I'm always of the opinion, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you're going to do a lot of work with the metallic threads, you're going to want to get a metallic needle. It basically has a bigger eye, so the thread doesn't rub as much as you're stitching. Okay, now we've got our red thread in. Let's do his little head here. Let's see what we can do there. Bobbin thread up. Okay, I'm going to lift this and take some of the weight off. Pop that like that. Grab my sweet spots. Whenever possible, try to keep your workspace clear of stray threads, because you'll get so involved in what you're doing, you won't notice them, and then they'll start getting tangled in your work. So now I want to stitch over here. I could finish off, break my threads, and start fresh, but I think in this instance, I'm just going to gently move over, put a little slack in that metallic, and stitch here. So I'll have what's called a jump stitch. At that point, when I'm all done, I can snip those. I think that's coming out all right. You notice how as we quilt things, it sort of tightens up and it leaves the rest of the unquilted area kind of puffy. That's why I always like to keep the amount of quilting I put on things fairly uniform. So now I'm going to come in here and make it about as dense as that so that it lays down nicely. Nice looking wing there. I kind of like that one. Okay, ooh, there's a flower. And I'm going to do the same thing. If I was working with a lighter color thread and it didn't matter, I might be inclined just to stitch over to there. But working with the red, I think it's going to be much better if I do another little jump. So give myself a bit of slack on that decorative thread, and I can go right to there. I'm just going to outline them. When you're doing free motion, we always try not to do too much over stitching. We always try to look at the path we're stitching through things. But especially for wall hangings, over stitching doesn't hurt. And especially when you're working with some of these decorative threads, the over stitching can actually enhance what you're doing. okay. So, same technique. Pretty much done this guy. We have a special, oh, there's another flower. I'll do the other flower. So if you're thinking to yourself, that looks like a lot of fun, but I'm not sure I want to put out the space constraint or the budget yet for a machine like this, tomorrow we're going to show you what you can actually do on a very basic sewing machine as far as putting a little bling on your projects. Last year when we were still running classes, I did a series of classes, and I remember the last one we were working with decorative threads, and we called it Bling It On. So this is Bling It On 2.0. Flower. Now let's see if we just get his other wing taken care of here. Right about there. All right. When I work on things like this, quite often I don't have a full plan ahead of time. I'm very much like to sort of do a bit and then stand back and look at it and say, well, I think it needs something here, or I think it needs something there, or I don't like what I did there, so I have a really good set of seam rippers, and we just try it again. There we are. He's looking quite sparkly. Okay, so I think we'll leave it at that for today, although I could quilt for hours. Everybody have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there. What's our line? Yeah.
Be safe, be kind, and be calm.
Yay! And we'll see you tomorrow.
Ooh, look, it's sparkly.
Oh, it's sparkly.